Woonsocket. The views expressed on the following program are those of its hosts and participants and in no way reflect those of the staff or management of WNRI.
This is Veterans News Radio, getting to the heart of Veterans Affairs. A program dedicated to unveiling the truth in a relentless pursuit of justice on behalf of veterans. Coming to you live from Rhode Island to the world with your host, High Speed Sal.
Sorry, a little bit of a technical difficulty. Anyway, as I was saying, we've stepped up to AM from the internet. I have my co-host Dennis over here. He's our fellow jarhead. Sorry, but I got to do that.
It's all right. It's expected every time.
All right, anyway, we're a show that, for those of you that are new, we're a show that stands up for veterans and, you know, their life of being perhaps used, abused, and of course, like myself, being toxic. So I can honestly say that I'm a toxic veteran. I'm a toxic veteran from Fort McClellan. We've been off the air for a while, and now we're finally back on. Fort McClellan, by the way, which is in Anniston, Alabama, not to be confused with the Air Force Base. I think that's McClellan. Where's that, Dennis? California.
Off the top of my head.
California.
California.
San Bernardino, I think, where this other stuff's happening right now. I hope everything's okay over there.
Hearts go out to those people as well.
Well, if we get any bit of news, breaking news on that, we will let everyone know. Anyway, this is what we're about. This is what we're here for. We've come a long way. Myself, I've been to Washington quite a few times. We got a semi-website done with the public health page on va.gov, but however, the whole thing is just a load of bull, period. And we're going to go through that as well. Mm-hmm. Dennis, why don't you take a minute, too, and you can introduce yourself and let the radio audience know what's going on as well.
Well, I'm happy to be back here on the air. Happy to be back here with you, Sal, and our director here, Dan. And I'm 33, almost 33 years old, and I've been good friends with Sal. I've been around the country with him, going to different places. I went down to Washington with him as well. You recently had a trip down to Anniston as well, didn't you, Sal?
Well, that was 2 Septembers ago, yes.
Oh, it was that long ago.
Yeah, it was. That's a long time ago. Got a lot of information from that,
Time to
too.
go back down pretty soon again.
Well, we're going to have to, because this webpage that the VA put up is just bogus.
You know, I'm like I said, I'm 32 years old, disabled, United States Marine. I'm also a resident of Operation Stand Down in West Elise housing. And it's good to be back.
Yeah, now, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're also a child of an Agent Orange veteran.
I'm a fourth generation Marine Corps and child of a Vietnam vet, 3 tours, who also had exposure to Agent Orange, and it's a tough road for military veterans, especially when you sign that blank check to the government up to and including your life, and you get out thinking that you've done your service, you've done a good job, and you get out and you get the rigmarole from whether it be the Department of Health, the CDC, the VA, you know, but we're working, striving, and one step forward every time.
So, I know you have your health issues as well that could have possibly came from your father. Now, there's we've had another young lady, I don't know if you remember Kelly from COV, from Children of Vietnam Veterans. Mm-hmm. She's got a great site that she's running on Facebook. I should have had the address, but anyway, I'm sure.
I believe it's debute.org.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right. In fact, we'll have her back on eventually, because this isn't just about us. It's not just about, you know, who went there, who was at Fort McClellan, Alabama for MP training like myself, or even before, prior to '74, for WEC training, which is the Women's Army Corps. This is where they trained.
I believe the
And
biochemical school was also there.
the chemical school was there too, NBC, Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical. You know, we're talking about this stuff, and it's bringing me back to that website that they decided to put on for us on va.gov, the public health pages, and I guess they just decided to do that to try to shut us up or possibly me up.
Satiate us.
But this actually got me very, very upset, more so than anything else, because of the lies that they put out there, and they expect everyone to believe it. They even expect the doctors to believe this, because I myself, in fact, Dennis was with me. We went down to the War-Related Illnesses and Injuries Study Center. I mean, they took me in. They did a lot, and unfortunately I found out a lot of bad things with my health that I kind of wish I didn't know about, but hey, well, this is what I've got, and this is what we're going to deal with.
I will give them one thing. It was wonderful accommodations.
Well, yeah, they put us up in a great place, in like a presidential suite. But anyway, other than that, it was, you know, and I have to admit, they did take good care of me. We were there for 3 days, and
Wonderful staff down there.
They basically, I was the only patient. I was, I shouldn't say patient, because basically I was a test subject. We're going back to the study center. That's what RISC is all about. They're a study center, and they look at different people. Of course, they tried to, you know, tie all my stuff into PCB exposure. They forgot about the chemical school that was there and all the other stuff that went on as well. So it's almost as if the VA is just trying to centralize itself on the PCB exposures and trying to keep everybody back, I think, to 1978.
But the thing that gets me is that they have the health registry for Camp Lejeune. They have the health registries for a couple other bases that have been shut down, whether it be by the CDC or by the environmental agencies. And, you know, how hard is it to understand and recognize that there's more bases in the United States that could have been possibly exposed? I mean,
well, do you realize there are over 150 bases in the United States alone that are Superfund areas by the EPA? Basically, how much more is it to understand that, you know, they used a lot of these bases as dumping grounds? They couldn't dump the stuff anywhere else, so where is DOD going to do it? They're going to do it on their own bases. Look, I've got one guy, Steve House. Great guy. We actually became great friends, in fact. You met him, in fact, too. Him and George Claxton. George Claxton is a girl. He's from, they're both from Michigan.
Michigan.
Actually, Steve, and I'll give him a shout-out because I know you're listening, buddy. You know, you're out in Arizona right now. Hope you're staying warm. But anyway, he was in Korea. He was actually at Camp Carroll. He was...
Well, they were burying
Agent Orange
leftovers
drums
from Vietnam.
Yeah. Now they've got Thailand that's involved. They've got Okinawa that's involved, and let's not forget Bari in Italy, where they dumped it all in the the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, that's a sea.
And I'm sure Guam and the Philippines as well.
Well, no, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. And, you know, they've always been this way with us, and we just can't turn around and let them continue. You know, they're screwing us. Basically, that's what's going on. And, you know, I am coming back now with intentions of telling everyone, you know, enough is enough. I don't even think that going to Congress, and God knows how many times I've been there, and I've had people listen to me, and I've grabbed people in those tunnel systems and everything else under the U.S. Capitol that goes to the different buildings. And they say, oh, yes, 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 we'll help you. You know, the only one that I actually ever really, really had any luck with, he's from Florida, is David Jolly. David Jolly was actually here for, Representative Jolly was here in September. He's actually, I believe, going to be running for U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
He was very good. He's actually somewhat of a help for us to this website that VA put up. Unfortunately, the VA put it up the wrong way, and I really want that thing to be amended. But anyway, you know, brothers and sisters out there, I think it's time that we start to be a little more demanding. I don't think that letters to Congress or to Senate or what have you is going to actually be helpful. I really, really think we need to light a fire under them. We need to get more involved. I mean, there's a few of us out there that are very much involved, but we need everyone. I mean, we're a team. We were made a team. We all signed that dotted line as a team. We all took an oath as a team.
And this isn't just about Fort McClellan or just the veterans that were there or their families. While we're doing this, it's going to be growing into a whole as an organization to help out all veterans. I mean, myself, this time last year, I was sleeping in my truck. You know,
Yeah.
and thankfully, we as Rhode Islanders have a great outlet, Operation Stand Down, that put me up, and now I'm in my own one-bedroom apartment, and, you know, there shouldn't be any homeless veterans. But my point is that, you know, it's not just about Fort Mac. We're going to keep on going, and they're not going to shut us down.
Well, we also do have an organization, which, by the way, this show is sponsored by PoisonVeterans.org. PoisonVeterans.org is, has been up for a couple of years, and we're here to fight for all veterans' rights. We're going to send this over to Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan Bedangi, the producer of Veterans News Radio. I want to let everybody know, listening right now, this is a brand new radio show right here on 1380 AM in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, WNRI. I invite everybody to go to our website, veteransnewsradio.com, and you can click on the social media links, which we're updating right now. It's under construction. We're going to have our social media links, also our YouTube page and everything else. And if you're a veteran out there, you got a story to tell. You've been ramshacked by the government or what have you, medical problems, anything, a story that you want to get out, folks, please go to veteransnewsradio.com and click on our email and send a right to Sal here, Sal Caiozzo, which is on the website here, veteransnewsradio.com, salcaiozzo@gmail.com. Click on there, send him an email, let him know your story, and we can put you on the air. We're always looking for guests, and again, a brand new radio show right here in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and it's strictly veterans news. And veterans, as we see all over the headlines, veterans are in the streets, homeless, sick, and they're not getting the care they deserve. And you fight for your country, you come back, and you're on the street. You know what I mean? So this show here is to bring you that information, news, and light that we could do something about this. And this is a show brought to you for veterans by veterans. Back to you, Sal.
Thanks, Dan. And every show always needs its producer. And I really appreciated that. Anyway, getting back to where we were going, we did have a chance to go to Congress a couple of times. We've gotten pretty far, believe it or not. We still got a ways to go, though, and like I was saying earlier, we're all a team, and I can't say this enough. We need to stick together, because if it's only just 1, 2, or maybe just 12 of us to show up, you know what? It's just not going to do it. Just not going to do it. You know that. You know, we have to have strength in numbers, and it's about all of us, not just Fort Mac, but all of us, every single one. Anyway, I'd also like to introduce to the listening audience my co-producer, Ashley Jones. The mic's on.
Good evening, everyone.
Ashley, so, we have this wonderful staff going now and everything else. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from.
Well, I was born and raised in Rhode Island all my life. I've been in talk radio for the past 3 years. I worked for a couple of different networks, producing and co-hosting and hosting at times as well. I did my own show for like 60 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm here to be glad with Veterans News Radio in Woonsocket, Rhode Island at WNRI.
Great, and it is a great step up, and it's an honor for me to have you guys around me here, and, you know, let's just get ready to kick some, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready.
But anyway, one of the biggest things that I have noticed when we went down to Fort McClellan back in September, I believe, what, 2014? No, 2013.
Yeah.
That's it, 2013. While being there, I was able to talk to a lot of people. I was able to talk to the CEO of the McClellan redevelopment, and, you know, told them how much of a great job they were doing and how it's probably one of the cleanest areas in the country now. But, however, the problem is only 10% of that base is the cleanest area in the country, because that's all that they can use. And this is why I'm going after all of this, you know, that website that they put up. They basically try to say, you know, just PCBs. Well, we have proof about ionizing radiation at the MP school and at the MP museum. Certain buildings that were downed and, you know, they just were gone and just capped, the whole area was capped. To me, that is admission. In fact, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission did a flyover back in the, I believe, late 80s, early 90s, and they found all these, you know, areas of ionizing radiation that were leaking out. Mm-hmm. We all ended up, you know, in this stuff. And unfortunately, what had happened...
Training in it,
well, yeah,
sleeping in it, breathing it, eating in it.
And what happens is, you know, years later, you end up with problems. Myself, thyroid cancer, one of the worst kind. I have no idea what they're expecting us to do.
Well, and you see it all over the news nowadays, people that are literally, and I don't even mean this figuratively, literally veterans are dying waiting for health care. Mm-hmm. They are dying waiting for... I mean, just myself, it took almost 8 years to get into the VA system after a medical discharge from the military. There is no reason, and I'm not taking political sides, but I think, you know, Mr. Trump is correct when he says that in today's technological day and age, a VA claim should not take more than 24 hours to be initialized and processed.
Look, listen, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I probably will. You get people that go into welfare. Mm-hmm. They will get their food stamps within 24 hours. They will get money probably within a week.
Oh, no, try like as soon as you leave the office, they activate your card right away.
Yeah, well, okay, that's wonderful. Well, what about us? I mean, what has happened? What has happened in this society when we're ready to give them everything, and then we have issues, and then it's our burden of proof? Mm-hmm. We have to prove what we went through when they already know what's happened? When you have corporations that are turning around and, you know, basically running the military. I hate to say it, but this whole thing came from Monsanto. I mean, for those of you that don't know who Monsanto is, they are the ones who are trying to make you sick just by changing your food with GMOs, genetically modified organisms. I mean, they've been doing this for so long. I mean, they were around in the early 1900s. They actually got sued by the town of Anniston for $700 million. Veterans got nothing. You know, they got nothing. They just assumed the surmise that, you know, the veterans would be taken care of by the VA. Well, guess what? We're getting jack.
And this goes a lot deeper than Anniston when it comes to Monsanto as well, because if you look back into the late 50s, into the 60s, a subdivision of Monsanto, Dow Aggregate, is the corporation that invented Agent Orange.
Yes, they invented Agent Orange, but Monsanto made it even worse.
Right.
You know, it went from one to the other, which then Monsanto, by the way, and Anniston turned into Solutia, which I am sure that they are still part of the same company. But we know how that stuff works, don't we?
Well, Sal, it looks like we got a phone call coming in, but if you want to take it after the break, have them hold for about a minute. We're going to go to break about 3 minutes, and whoever's calling, stay on the line. And also want to also let you know, if you're out of range of the radio station here, you could tune in live streaming, worldwide internet streaming. You could go to Veterans News Radio, the link's right there, or the WNRI.com webpage site. And again, you can go on your phone with iHeart and everything to click onto your favorite radio station, WNRI 1380 AM, Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Okay, we're going to go to break.
So yeah, we're going to go to a break, and again, you tune into Veterans News Radio. Check us out on veteransnewsradio.com. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Veterans News Radio, right here on WNRI, Woonsocket. We have our first caller of the evening.
Well, looks like we lost them. So, yeah, if you want to call in, the phone number is 1-800-949-9674, or if you're local, 766-1380. Again, 1-800-949-9674. We're broadcasting also on live internet worldwide streaming.
Okay. All right. We'll keep watching. All right, anyway. Another thing that's coming to mind as well, of course, this is in the international area. 200 special ops people going to Iraq.
Issued to Iraq this morning, I believe.
This is interesting. I mean, weren't we told that they weren't going to put boots on the ground there anymore?
And looks like we don't.
We'll get this. Anyway, yeah, and that's another thing that's somewhat bothering me. All right, we have another caller. Welcome to Vienna.
Yes, I'd like to call in.
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, I'm on. I heard you mention Camp Lejeune.
Yes, ma'am.
I was stationed at Camp Johnson in 1990. Now, is Camp Johnson on that list of bases?
Ma'am, I don't know. I know that there is a web page you can go to, and you can look up these different bases to see if they were superfunded. I mean, it's just so many, I can't really remember. Now, how long ago were you there?
I was there in 1990. I went to cook school.
Uh-huh. And is that the only place you went, or were you stationed in other places?
Well, I went Paris Island, Camp Johnson, then Camp Pendleton.
Pendleton, I think there's a portion of it that is listed. I'm not sure. It's something you'd have to go look up. But I know that they did have some issues there. How's your health there?
Well, my big thing with the VA is I had hurt my back while I was in the service, and they keep saying, they won't give me an increase on my disability because they keep saying, oh, it's just back strain, muscle spasm for over 20 years.
Of course they won't. Yeah.
Even though I now have MRIs showing that I have torn disc and disc sticking out, but they won't give me an increase.
The biggest thing I found with the VA is you have to keep on fighting them and fighting them. Don't give up, because that's what they want you to do.
I think because I'm not at the hospital every week, they have no record of me, quote, complaining. Well, I have to work, too.
Right. I understand.
I'm only 40% disabled. I can't live on that,
Right.
So I can't be at the VA hospital every week complaining. I go when it gets really, really, really bad. But,
well, all I can tell you is just keep on fighting and fighting, keep on appealing, keep on refiling, and go from there. We have to get on to another call now, dear, but
And
it was nice
before
to
we
hear
go,
from you.
ma'am, you can go to our website, veteransnewsradio.com. We have an email link. Email the story if you find out information. And if you need to get your story heard, and when you do find out information, send us an email.
Certainly.
Thank you for the
VeteransNews.com.
veteransnewsradio.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And welcome to VNR.
How you
Hi,
doing?
Carl. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. It's going to be a good show, I think. I'm a member. I'm a veteran. I caught the end of the Korean conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very lucky. I didn't have any duty. But a friend of mine was in 1974, I believe, and he was a victim of that Agent Orange. And I asked him to give you a call. I don't know if he's going to, but I hope he does. And so.
Well, it was quite a nasty substance. Anything that can clear out an entire landing strip of trees overnight is not good for human consumption and or living in.
Yeah. But see, I can't say enough about the Veterans Hospital. Honest to God, I've had a couple of operations there, and they've treated me really, really well.
Good.
Well, I have, too. I have to be truthful with you. They've been very good to me, too, but unfortunately, not everybody gets the same treatment.
Yeah.
And not all VAs across the country are the same. Unfortunately, it should be a standardized care, but it doesn't seem to be that way yet.
Yeah.
That's what we're striving for.
Well, I'm hoping this guy calls you and gives you a call. I know he's listening. He's a great guy, too.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay,
Good luck
thank
on
you.
your show.
You have a great
Thank you,
night.
sir.
Thank you.
And welcome to VNR.
Yes, hello, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good. I was stationed at Fort McClellan back in '79, and since that time I've had 2 heart attacks, I have 10 stents, I became diabetic. About a little over a year ago, I had renal cell carcinoma. I went through a heminephrectomy, and it's been murder with all the medications and everything. And years ago I applied for Social Security because I was disabled out of my job, and I was turned down by the government for Social Security, believe it or not. They told me I can go sit in a movie theater tearing tickets.
Right.
Where our government gives away everything to everybody else. Now, I'm saying to myself, I'm born, raised in this country, serve my country honorably, and end up with all of this.
Right.
And I can't get my Social Security disability. It was like unreal.
Right. Well, it still goes back to everything. You still have to keep on fighting them. And unfortunately, because we're such a corporation driven society, it's like, okay, get a lawyer so that way you can give him a bunch of money as well, and then you'll get what you're going to get. But it's going to take forever.
And I even went through that route. For 7 years I fought for my Social Security disability and still got denied.
Wow.
And,
And do you currently receive help from the VA?
Well, they helped me out with my medications. I had spoken to one doctor there, and she looked at me and she said that I definitely have all the symptoms of, contamination, but they can't do nothing until HR 411, goes through.
Right. Well, now I believe it's a total different number as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's not true. That is absolutely not true. If you have to prove, unfortunately we have the burden of proof with all this stuff, but you have to be able to show that, yes, this happened here. The best thing you can do, and I'm going to tell this to everyone out there as well, and sometimes it's going to be a little tough for all of us, you need nexus letters. Nexus meaning from doctors on the outside. Most of us can't even afford to do that, unless you get on Social Security and you end up with Medicare. And even then it gets difficult as well. But they might listen that way, but as far as I'm concerned, in the VA system itself, they're just not going to, they're not going to go for it. I mean, for me, it was years and years of, oh, you're in pain. Well, we don't know why. Then, of course, when I went to this war-related illnesses study center and they figured out why, because they did biopsies and what have you, now they kind of like listening. So the problem is, we have to fight for our own health care.
Right.
So, I don't know what to say at this point.
Yeah. I even went to my congressman here in Miami, which is a new congressman, and, you get to the point where you go there, and they don't call you back, they don't say nothing to you. It's like you're forgotten, like you said, you're a forgotten ghost to these people.
Well, you know, you got to remember we're like the 3% of the population. So do they really, really, you know, really think or care about us at this point? I mean, they just don't have enough constituents that are veterans, I guess, that would turn around and say, hey, no way, you're not happening. We're not voting for you anymore because you're not helping us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the problem is. If we could only get everyone else out there and let them understand, hey, yeah, we did this, and you guys got to help us out. And I really believe it's going to be up to the communities now to help us, and to the whole general population.
And not just the forgotten veterans themselves, but it comes down to, I mean, I'm in the situation, I know Sal's children are in the situation, but it comes down to even the second and third generations now. How long has the VA said that only spina bifida is related to Agent Orange or Vietnam vets? And there's a whole plethora of illnesses, diseases, carcinomas, cancers. I mean, even to the point where grandchildren are being born with their hearts outside their chest, and medical defects to that nature, that it goes beyond just the, you know, we're getting into our children and our children's children being affected.
Do we have now a new health registration act going under a different number?
I believe so. I'm not sure what number it is, because I'm going to be very truthful with you. I've gotten very, very depressed about this whole situation, to say the least. But yeah, it's a new session of Congress, but I think it's a 23-something. I don't remember exactly what. Maybe someone out there does. And they
If
can
I'm
let
not
us
mistaken,
know.
it is a continuation of 411.
It is a continuation, but they have a different HR number
Right.
to it now. That's
Well, we're in a
basically
different
it.
session.
But even that's not really what we actually need, because that's still only talking about PCBs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, and they have to remember the other stuff that went on there.
Now, if they ever come out with something for us veterans, and we are at that point, we're not around, but often, would it help our family in any way?
Well, that's what we're fighting for.
I've seen where there's been a couple of citations, appeal citations that came out that the veteran was gone. Actually, there was one right here in Providence, Rhode Island.
Well, it's sorry to chime in. It's HR 2622 now.
Thank you.
June 2nd of 2015, HR 2622.
And that's still Congressman Tonko that put that in,
Yep,
right?
for
from New
McClellan
York.
Health Registry Act.
Yeah. There have been cases where families have gotten awarded and what have you, but do we really have to get to that point?
It seems like it, because I don't know how much longer I have with all the issues that I have, the medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be nice that, somewhere along the line, because my wife has put up with quite a bit, of my medical issues, and, has been there for me. And,
Yeah, I know, it's tough.
It gets to be, tough on family members also.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very
I
much
wish
for
you
your
luck.
call, sir.
And you can also
Thank
go
you,
to
sir.
poisonveterans.org. We have something going on there with, for Fort McClellan as well, and you can get a little more information, and you can get in touch.
Thank you very, very much, sir. I
Thanks for
appreciate
your
it.
service, man.
Have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Wow. That was great.
Well, it's a little bit of insight for our listeners out there of what is going on behind the scenes, the stuff we don't see on a day-to-day basis. We see it as the veterans, our families see it, but the general public is kind of blind to it.
Well, that's
They're
why
more worried about what sales are going on Cyber Monday or Black Friday than they are where our veterans are, the people that gave them that freedom.
Black Friday, the
to
zombie
enjoy.
horde, yes, that's a wonderful time of year.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, we want to hear from you. It's 401-766-1380 or 1-800-949-9674.
anyway, as you know, we're just listening to this gentleman down in Miami. He's got all these problems. How many stents did he say? Like 10?
Yeah, they said he had two heart
That's-
attacks.
Yeah,
and,
10 stents.
Huh?
Brother, man, I'm with you, man. I really am, and I'll be praying for you.
Pray for you and your family.
And that's the other point, the families.
Mm-hmm.
The families, the children. There's a lot of people out there that they have their children that have all these issues, and they're not getting any answers. The civilian doctors can't give them answers because they can't figure it out.
And at points, I do believe that the VA doctors are there to help us, but when the CDC is bought off by lobbyists and politicians are bought off by lobbyists, the doctors really can't even admit to it themselves, and they're in fear of losing their jobs in some cases.
Well, this is how it works with the VA, actually, and I'm glad you brought this up, Dennis. The way it works with the VA is that basically if you have a student loan and you're going to be a doctor, well, the VA says, okay, you can come be a doctor with us. You have to be with us, I believe, for like 10 years or something like that, and we'll wipe your slate clean. Now, however, in order to do this, you have to do what we tell you to do. So where did the Hippocratic Oath go? You know, I mean, they're not going to, no dog's going to bite the hand that's feeding them. And, of course, to them, it's like they're going to have this big debt taken away from them.
And, you know, you hear in the news every day about whistleblowers this and, you know, Ed Snowden that. And if I'm not mistaken, there have been a couple whistleblowers throughout the VA, and those people don't have jobs anymore.
No, they don't. But, however, the directors of those hospitals have been the one from Arizona.
Bonus after bonus.
No, she was actually transferred to Colorado.
Oh.
She ended up in Colorado, you know, and somebody from Colorado ended up somewhere else, and that's all they've been doing. You know, I'd really like to get Secretary McDonald on, and I'd really, really like to talk to him about all this stuff. And, you know, my understanding, there was just a story about this, how the waiting time with the VA has actually doubled since the scandal.
Yeah.
So what did they do? I have not seen anyone fired except for whistleblowers.
Nope. No, and it's a general rule of thumb. You can't videotape, you can't audio record while you're in the VA, even as a patient.
Wasn't that part of HIPAA laws, though?
Well, when it comes to your own health care, shouldn't you be able to have some sort of record?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, that's what they throw at you. I mean, we know
well, they
that,
can say HIPAA law for this or that or whatever. I can still turn around and take pictures in a regular hospital.
Yeah.
I can still turn around and do stuff like that, but when you're there, oh no, it's you're breaking some kind of unforsaken law, you know, and it's like, seriously? Why would you even be doing this to us? So it's an institution that just doesn't want to, you know, doesn't want to be as helpful as you may think. I hate to say this to all you veterans out there, but yeah, we're in trouble. And with all these new guys coming home, new guys and girls coming home, it's going to be even more trouble.
We need them to join the fight too, you know. I mean, it's unfortunate we've hung up our flak vests and our helmets, but it's almost to the point where the fight has come home. We need to start getting back into it, and not physically fighting, but, you know.
We've got another call coming in. I guess it's gone.
Okay.
No, it's still there. It's there. Sorry, we're going to get used to this, so. Welcome to WNRI. You're on the air.
Hi, how you doing? This is Ray Garner. I'm one of the fellows, veterans that went up in January.
Yeah, how are you, Ray? How you been?
Oh, not good, but I'm still kicking.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Yep. Many health things. Still been waiting since January 5th for a heart doctor's appointment.
Since January 5th.
I got to see my primary. I don't even have a cardiologist assigned to me anymore because mine retired over a year ago.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the primary didn't want to give you a chance to didn't even want to put you into another cardiologist while they knew this was going on. Is that what happened?
Well, she says they don't have one at Lake City. Yeah, I'm in North Florida. And so Gainesville VA is very close to me, and that's a large one. And I did on June 1st finally get to get a cardiologist appointment, but it wasn't with a doctor. It was with the physician's assistant.
Okay, yeah, wow, yeah.
And she didn't even tell me that I didn't have a cardiologist. She says I have a very severe heart condition, which I've known. I've had 4 heart attacks. Inside my heart with the heart casts, 15 times, I believe.
Right.
And you said you're in North Florida, sir?
Yes. Florida area, Lake City
Have you
area.
ever checked to see if there's a VA just over the southern Georgia border?
They come to my VAs. There's none.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's none local in Georgia?
no,
Okay.
we're the. And you know, my primary has switched the last. Oh, I've had 3 primaries in the last year because my first primary got promoted to the head of the hospital, and so then I got a new primary, and I don't think I ever even seen her eyes in the 2 appointments that I had with her. And I've been in contact. I've been talking to my Congressman Yoho here in North Florida about Fort McClellan. He's very aware, and he is wanting and willing to help us. And I talked to his assistant today.
Yeah.
But I talked to him months ago about not being able to get a heart doctor appointment, and within a couple hours I had a call to have an appointment, but it still wasn't with the doctor. It was, you know.
Now, how do they expect to be, for us to be followed when they keep on using us as a ping pong ball? Let's put it that way to just say it, somewhat clear. Anyway, Ray, I appreciate the call. I got another call
Keep up the
coming
good
in.
fight, brother.
And we'll be talking soon, brother.
Okay.
Thanks. Hey, welcome to WNRI. You're on the air.
Hi, my name is Susie, and I was also stationed at Fort McClellan back in 1973. I went through basic there.
That was during the WACET period. Is that correct, ma'am?
It was correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been sick since I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that.
And it's just been horrible. I have, in fact, is this Sal I'm talking to?
This is Sal, yes.
Hey, Sal, this is Susie. I'm doing your spreadsheet for you.
Oh, Susie.
Yeah, hi.
Susie, hello. How could I not know the voice? I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I just wanted to say that the things that the VA put you through are just an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
I went to, I have been going to the VA since I got out of the service in 1975. I went the week I got out, and they wouldn't see me. They said I wasn't service-connected. Without seeing a doctor, mind you, they said I was not service-connected. So for years, I paid my own medical bills and have never had help from anybody. I actually worked for about 40 years so I'd have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And back in 2007, I finally couldn't work anymore.
Right.
I have fibromyalgia, I have degenerative disc disease, I have type 2 diabetes, I had open heart surgery at 52. And I went on Social Security disability. Social Security says, you're really sick. I said, I know, I'm really sick.
Right.
Yeah, they tell us as if it's a new thing for us to, like, hey, welcome to the party.
Right. But they approved, the Social Security approved me first time through.
Mm-hmm.
But the VA is a whole different story. I'm on my 3rd claim. Of course, the first 2 claims I didn't know anything about why I was so sick. I just knew I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I have arthritis, osteoarthritis. There is not a joint or a muscle in my body that doesn't hurt.
No, I know that feeling.
Yeah, and I fought it for years. I forced myself to do everything I could do, and I just can't do it anymore.
Understood.
And so anyway, I was just going to tell you very quickly that since I was on Social Security disability and I was going to the VA, I take 18 to 20 medications every day.
Wow.
Which is very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pay the bill. I just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is what we're fighting for, Susie.
Right.
You're not alone anymore, dear.
but the VA started garnishing my disability, my Social Security disability.
Really?
I would have that looked into.
Well, I tried. I got a hold of Robert McDonald's sidekick. She's no longer there. Allison Hickey.
Yeah.
And she turned me over to some gal named Carol. And she turned me over to somebody in Miami. They talked to somebody.
Susie, you know what?
Yeah.
Send me a line about this, and I've got another caller on hold, and we're almost at the end of the show. So, and I'll see what I can do to help you out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
So much time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome to WNRI. You're on the air.
Hi, Sal. This is April Booth. How are you?
Good. Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. I was at Fort McClellan also in basic,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent 4 weeks out of the 8 weeks in the hospital. They did not restart me. I had a massive lung infection they claimed as pneumonia.
Yeah.
And as time went on, I would develop sore throats and my knees would hurt. And I didn't think much of it. And it was after I went into the reserves after the Army, active Army, and it ended up, it kept progressing, and I was diagnosed with Still's disease and fibromyalgia and many other things. I had an embolism in my eye that only 90-year-olds have.
Right.
Just crazy stuff. It never gets any better. Well, my doctors have decided they want me to go to Mayo Clinic. I'm going the 4th of January.
Well, I'm kind of glad that that was able to happen for you.
Well, I would like to advocate for everyone. I might be the laughing stock when I get there, but if anybody would like me to take possibly their name or a nickname and a list of their diagnosis and hand this to these people, see if there's something I could do. Maybe.
Well, actually, that's what I am working on right now with Susie. She was just on the phone with me. We're actually putting together our own health registry, just to get, because I'm planning on taking that personally down to Washington and handing it off to someone. But yeah, that would be great.
I would be willing to do that for everyone. I have no idea if it would be advantageous, but I would be willing, but we do not have much time.
No, we don't. So what you can do is you can, why don't you send me an email? You can get that at veteransnewsradio.com. You can find my email address there, or you can also go to poisonveterans.org and just click the contact us button at the bottom of the page, and that will also send an email right to me. Get me some of your information, and I'll be glad to follow up with you.
That would be great, and you know, if I can get the money together to go, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm working diligently on doing that, and if we can, any of us can do anything, would be amazing.
Yes, it would.
I will have some downtime there. I'll ask a lot of questions, and I'm not afraid to knock on doors.
Well, I can hear that.
One person willing, one person that will just step out and do whatever they can.
Well, remember what I said at the beginning of the show.
We need to come together as
We're a team.
Massive unit.
Exactly.
In order to do this. So.
Outstanding.
I'm willing to help any way I can. Let me know.
Okay, drop me a line. That way we can stay in touch. Thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you.
All right.
And again, it's veteransnewsradio.com. Send us email, let us know your story. And again, next week we're going to be on 1800 hours, 6 p.m. That's Eastern Time. Veteransnewsradio.com or WNRI.com.
Well, this is High Speed Sal, and I got Dennis right here, right next to me. We're going to have to figure out a handle for you.
Soon to be determined.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But anyway.
But it's great to be back on the air, and glad to be here with you.
Well, I'm glad everybody was on and listened, and, you know, the only thing I can tell you is come back next Wednesday. If you want to get in touch with me, you can. You can go to veteransnewsradio.com or to poisonedveterans.org and drop me a line, and I will be glad to get right back to you. Any type of idea that anybody else can give me, you know, let's do this. Let's make this happen. Not going to sit on the sidelines. None of us need to sit on the sidelines anymore. It's not just going to be me, Dennis, the other guy, and the other guy. And, you know, don't get me wrong, a lot of people have done stuff, but we all need to come together as one. We need to come together as one, and we need to take them basically down. I hate to say this in this way, and it's not being in a bad way, but, you know, if they're not going to give,
then we need to find somebody that will.
we need to take.
Right.
That's basically what we need. We need to take, because enough is enough. I've been sick too long. I'm a toxic veteran, and I'm everybody's brother out there. And I wish all of you a very good week and a good night.
Good night.
This is WNRI signing off.